Living in an emerging country, including Paraguay, comes with its pros and cons. And you know that this channel is here to serve one purpose, to provide unbiased, truthful information. That's what we're here to do. And if you're one of the people who believes that, great. Please stay on this video. This video will really unlock a lot of the hidden stuff that so many of our competitor YouTubers don't like to talk about. I'm also aware that the minority of you guys watching this video have the belief that you can go to a country and experience sweetness only. That's just not how it works. If sweetness is what you want, and if sweetness is all you want, guess what? Go back in time, revisit kindergarten, and eat some marshmallows. If you like the effect that ice cream has on your brain, go get yourself some ice cream. Like I said, if you want some factual, unbiased, truthful information on Paraguay, then keep watching this video. Since you've just informed me about your passion for sweetness, I want to start this video talking about the dating scene in Paraguay, which is something that grown men, adults, guys with a real pair are interested in. And if that's you, then fantastic. We're going to have a lot to talk about in the next couple minutes or so. I want to add a little note here about guys that have been living in Asia. If you think that Southeast Asia has been your Shangri-La, then don't be mistaken that a Shangri-La cannot exist in a different region in this world. It does. And Paraguay is one of these regions, and I'm going to explain to you everything about it. You enjoy going to man spas without paying a whole lot of money, without breaking the bank. Guess what? This country is a good place for you to stay. Talking about dating, it works quite differently here, okay? If you're coming from, let's say, an English-speaking country and you're used to communicating in English only, guess what? You will find women like that here, but plenty of women in this country, they speak Spanish only, okay? You find some that speak English, but a good chunk of the women running around here that are walking down the streets of Asuncion, they don't speak English. If you've been a loyal subscriber of this channel for the past months or years, you know that I'm not telling you anything new here, because in my humble opinion, whenever you go to a new country, you should embrace the new country. What you want to do is you come with an openness to learn the local language, because this is what really accelerates your positive expat experience in the country. I truly believe that. Now, if you come here with the stereotype mentality that everything has to be the way it has been for you back home for years, guess what? You're probably not going to do very well here. Just as much as you're not going to do very well in Vietnam, or you're not going to do very well living in Serbia. It is my humble opinion that wherever you live, you have to make some effort to learn the local language. It's ignorant to think that everything has to be your way. It's just not how the world works. In terms of dating, if you do have some social skills, you can go to the mall. Plenty of women there. You can initiate the conversation, talk about everyday things. You will be surprised how many women will be interested in you. I personally am doing this, and it's pretty easy to do actually, as long as you speak a little bit of Spanish, which you can learn. If you dedicate yourself, you can learn it in probably a month to 2 months. If you already have some sort of foundation or some sort of desire to learn Spanish, why? You want to integrate into the culture, you want to have success in the local dating scene, because that's what gets you ahead in life. Guess what? In a month or 2 months, you can definitely have a lot of success dating Paraguayan women. And women here are really down to earth, okay? They're very smiley, they're giggly, they're nice women to be around with. They're very positive, they do like foreigners. It's an extroverted culture, but it's not confrontational like it is in the West. If that's what you want, if you want to be around nice people, then guess what? Paraguay is a good place for that. Let's talk about the weather. I want to make some things clear here as well. This is now the end of the year, okay? We're talking about like the Western Hemisphere, which technically Paraguay is part of. A mentality, from a culture, from a climate perspective, Paraguay is not really part of the Western Hemisphere. If you come here, if you've been living in North America, Europe, Australia, wherever your home might be, you're moving to Paraguay, you will see quite a few significant differences here when compared to home. And these differences, many of them are actually quite good. They're actually quite pleasant to deal with. One of the things that you have to adjust to is, of course, the weather. I always believe that adjusting to the weather is a matter of time. You can get used to the weather here pretty quickly if you want to. What do you do when it's really hot outside? Well, guess what? You stay indoors. If you want to go for a walk, you do that in the early morning. You do that between 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. if that's what you want, because the weather's still pleasant. You have to know that Asuncion, Paraguay, especially, downtown, it's not a very populated area. I mean, the roads are not very wide, In some areas, sure, it's densely populated, but it's not like Asia, different. And there are a lot of trees, there are a lot of buildings that provide shade, so you can definitely be walking in the early morning. As you can probably guess, another option would be for you to walk in the evenings. Just do it at sunset, which typically happens from 7 p.m. to 7:30. That's in our winter time, that's Asuncion, Paraguay summertime. You could definitely find a few good moments to take a walk during sunset or in the evening. If you're a white boy and you're very sensitive to the warm weather, to the humidity, you might not want to be walking around during the day. So what do? Well, you take Ubers, Uber cars, Uber bikes, take taxis. Maybe you want to rent a car, maybe you want to buy a car. I don't know what your ambitions are, but you have plenty of options for transportation here. There are plenty of gyms around here. If you live in an apartment complex, condominium complex where you've got a gym, you don't have to pay for it. So you can get a lot of stuff done by just being at home. And if you work from home, if you are a nomad, if you're an entrepreneur, an investor, and you want to use that time to work from home, you stay at home during the day, whenever you want to have fun, you want to go to one of the man spas, or you just want to go out on a date, or you want to go out for dinner with friends, you do that in the evenings. You hide at home, inside your apartment, like I do, and the action happens at night. If this is your first time here, you arrived as a tourist, you get 90 days. If you're from one of the Western countries, okay, North America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, or if you're from like Taiwan, I think Japan, maybe South Korea is part of it too, the UAE, if you're from any of these countries, you probably get in on a 90-day tourist visa. You don't need a visa before you come here. If you're from a country that does not enjoy visa-free access to Paraguay, you can work with us. We can help you with a lot of things. We can also help you with a residence permit. So we're a full package relocation agency that helps people move abroad, and we make the process smooth as silk. That's what we do. And we're a full package. We're different, we're transparent, we're unbiased, we're truthful, we're factful, as you've seen now throughout this video. I'm sharing with you the facts. And before I actually let you go, I wanted to talk with you about groceries in this country. As you know, the tax situation is very close to ideal. You pay 10% on local taxes. Now we're talking about income taxes, right? 10% on local income. Corporate is also 10%. If you have overseas income, most of it will be tax-free. You don't have to pay any taxes on that. Now, there are some caveats, okay? There are some cons. So I'm not gonna you here. Just taking a look at my grocery receipt. Colgate toothpaste. You know how much this baby cost me? It cost me $7. In America, this would probably have cost me maybe $1.50 to $2. Why is it so expensive? Imported, had to come a long way. I'm guessing this company doesn't exist here. There are import taxes. You know, the money gets lost in distribution. That's what happens. Same also holds true for olive oil, okay? You know how much I paid for this? This is 500 milliliters of olive oil. I paid $9 for this bottle, okay? In America or in Europe, this would have cost me probably $1.50 to $3 the most, right? In Europe, maybe €2. A lot of things here are cheap, okay? Services are cheap. I'm talking about man spas, they're cheap. If you want to get a pedicure, manicure done, pretty cheap to do. If you want to hire a maid, pretty cheap. You can find one for a couple $100 a month. Other things, like if you want to go out to eat, the food here is actually really good. If you go to one of the shopping malls or one of the local restaurants, you can have lunch for maybe $3. Yeah, you can also pay $10 or $20 for lunch, depending on how lavish you want to be eating. What I'm trying to say is that the world is your oyster. You get plenty of options here. You don't have to stick to a certain style. You don't have to stick to a certain budget. If you're willing to go out and try different things, you want to eat at lavish restaurants, you want to drive lavish cars, you want to live in lavish apartments. If that's who you are, there are many identical things here that you're used to back home. So you don't have to abandon everything that you are accustomed to, because this place offers so much diversity, and it does offer a pretty high living standard. But in order to get this high living standard, you have to pay money. You have to pay more money. And some things, like we've pointed out now, imported goods, they're just more expensive than they are back home. Just how it is. If there's no manufacturing plant here, you're going to pay more money. Most importantly, it's the last thing I wanted to talk with you about. You come here with an open mind. Don't come here believing that, you know, everything has to go your way, because that's just never how it works. Not even back home. Things don't always go your way. I'm not speaking to those that want to live in an emerging country, that want to have a good time, that have already researched Paraguay, that are in love with what the country offers, the low taxes, the dating scene, the laid backness, the low cost of living, the warm weather throughout the year. And if you want to live in a collectivist society where you're welcome, guess what? This is actually a pretty good place to be living in. It has a lot of good components and has a lot of good aspects. It checks a lot of the boxes. And if you want that, great, come here. So if you want to work with us, go check out our website. It's nomadelites.com. There's also a link below this video. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. And I see you on the next video.